up, beautiful jellyfish? It's Tracy. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch my video. Today I'm going to be doing a deck tech on one of the most popular modern decks at this moment. It's been popular for a really long time, that is Splinter Twin. Want to give the disclaimer, I actually don't play Splinter Twin. I have seen this deck, though, a ton. I have just, like... it's kind of one of those things where it's like I know the deck like really well because I've just played against it like a ton. And the reason I'm actually doing this video is because the other day I was goldfishing my friend's deck, and I don't know if you guys have heard of the term goldfishing before, but basically it means that it's kind of like you play Magic by yourself. So like you'll take a deck and you'll shuffle it together and you'll draw your 7 cards and you'll play the deck out as if you're playing a game of Magic, but you're not actually playing against someone. So it's kind of a really cool thing to do, I think, especially if you've just built a deck and you kind of want to see like how the deck plays, how your hands work out, how your draws play, what you do on the board, how do you interact with your opponent, things like that. Goldfishing is really important. It's a really cool thing, I think, and really important to do in the game. So he's goldfishing his Splinter Twin deck, and he's running Grixis Twin, and I was kind of like, wow, this deck is really cool, and I had before, I was kind of like really hesitant about the deck. I didn't really care for it. I was kind of afraid of the deck because the combo kind of comes out of nowhere sometimes, and, you know, I was kind of just like, whatever, I don't really care for this deck. But actually, when I was goldfishing, I was like, wow, this deck is actually really fun. It's pretty sweet. Not a deck that I would play, not a deck that I would build, but I did want to talk about this deck, especially because a lot of people who get into Modern, you know, they hear about this deck. It is very, very popular. If you're familiar with Modern, you've heard of Twin before. You probably know what this deck does. So first, I want to start off by explaining the combo and how the combo works. Even if you don't play this deck, it's really important to know how the combo works. So basically what happens is there's actually a couple of cards that work with the card Splinter Twin. One of the most popular ones is Deceiver Exarch or Pestermite. They do the same thing. 2 other cards that work that we're going to talk about a little bit. I'm really not going to be talking about Kiki Jiki, but Kiki Jiki, you know, you can. There's a whole separate deck called Kiki Cord. I'm not even going to talk about that deck in this video because that's kind of separate. But there's Kiki Cord, and then there's also Bounding Crassus, I think it is. So basically those cards all do the same thing. So basically what you do is you play this card, and it says whenever it enters the battlefield, you may tap or untap target permanent. So basically what you do is you play this card, usually at the end of your opponent's turn. You tap down a land, you tap down their whatever, usually it's a land. So that you play that, and then on your turn, usually, you untap your mana and you play this enchantment called Splinter Twin. Basically, you put that enchantment on your creature, your Deceiver Exarch, your Pestermite, your Kiki Cord, it's a little bit different, and then, or your Bounding Crassus. You put it on this card, and it says whenever you make a copy of you put the enchantment on the creature, you make a copy of it, so you make a token, and then you basically make infinite tokens because you constantly tap your Pestermite or your Deceiver Exarch or whatever, and you just make infinite tokens. You swing, they have haste, you kill them. So basically, this deck is really good because it's also a control deck. So even if you don't get the combo, you can still win with the deck. A lot of times in your sideboard, you will take out the combo for some matchups. It's kind of one of those things. You just kind of do that. That's the thing that's really interesting about playing combo in Modern is sometimes you will take out your combo against certain matchups because your combo just isn't good. You're going to play the more aggressive route. I've been killed by a 1/4 Deceiver Exarch before. It has happened, so it's absolutely 100% still possible. So this deck is good. It's a very reliable deck. It's sweet, and I'm actually going to talk about the variations of the deck. I'm going to be talking about 4 variations in this video. The first variation is going to be the very basic, very simple blue-red Splinter Twin. That's it. Then there's Grixis Splinter Twin, which splashes black for Tasigur, which is really cool. I appreciate that because I like Tasigur a lot. There's Jeskai Twin, and Jeskai Twin runs Path to Exile. I've seen Lightning Helix, things like that. And Temur Twin, which I've seen runs Tarmogoyf. In terms of what deck I think is the best of all of those, it's a tie for me between... Actually, no, it's not really a tie. Grixis Twin, in my opinion, is the best. Now, you may be saying, Tracy, you're biased. You really like Tasigur. You're not wrong. I do. I really thoroughly enjoy Tasigur. He's one of my favorite Magic cards ever. And I did a whole video. Did I do a whole video on Tasigur? Yeah, I did. Okay. I was making sure I filmed that video. I did an entire video on Tasigur if you want to watch that and see all my great reasons for why I love Tasigur. But I'll get to why I love Tasigur when we talk about the deck. But I think Grixis Twin is probably one of the best. and I'll explain that more why. But other variations of the deck, Jeskai is okay. I really have to say I'm not in love with Turbo Twin. It's called Turbo Twin or Goif Twin or whatever. Yeah, I'm not really a huge fan of it. I think that Tasigur is just better than Tarmogoyf in this instance, I really do. I am one of those people, I really don't think that Tarmogoyf is that good. A lot of people say that I'm crazy. It's, given it's a 2 mana that can become a 7/8. I think that's the max that Twin can, that Goif can get, I think is a 7/8. That's a whole separate issue for a different video though. I'm not a huge fan of Tarmogoyf. If you want me to do a whole video talking about Tarmogoyf, I can totally do that because I just don't think that card is that great. I may do a card focus on that, just an entire video talking about that card. But yeah, anyways, like I said, if you know that you're a control player, you kind of want to play combo, things like that, this is a good deck to go into. I was actually just talking to one of my friends before I was filming this video about the deck. He was asking me, it was funny, he was like, hey Tracy, what decks did you really hate playing against when you played Bloom Titan? And I was like, to be honest, I was like, I mean, Affinity was a pretty bad matchup. I was like, that was pretty not fun. I was like, pretty much like, Jund was pretty bad because Fulminator Mage. Control decks, I was like, and Blood Moon, you really don't like Blood Moon. And he was like, I was like, oh, so why do you want to play Twin, why do you want to play, do you want to play Bloom, or are you going to play that at GP Pittsburgh that's coming up? And he's like, no. He's like, I just want to, like, know what deck to play so that I can beat Bloom Titan. And I was like, okay, whatever you say. Alright, so basically I have not actually built this deck myself because, like I said, I don't play it, but I am going to be listing top decks. I don't really, honestly, like, I just kind of found these decks and I'm just kind of going off of them and I'm going to talk about them, so it's not like, I just kind of found like random ones on, all of these are on MTG top 8, so they're all like top 8 decks, and then one of them is on MTG Goldfish, so I found them all, like, they're all decks that have like done well and stuff like that, so. Talking about the land base, a couple of lands that you're going to want to be running. Something that I think is really interesting in this deck that I've seen that I actually really like, and I think it's really important, is running a Cavern of Souls in this deck. I think that's a really good choice because Cavern of Souls is really amazing. I've played Cavern of Souls in Bloom Titan, and I'm playing it in Elves right now, and it is fantastic. It is an anti-blue card, and I think this is a really important land in this deck that I actually haven't really seen a lot of people play. And one of the reasons why is because you also play Blood Moon a lot of times in this deck. You pretty much run Blood Moon in the sideboard, so Cavern of Souls kind of gets shut off a little bit. However, I think this card's really important because there's a lot of ways that people can interact with your Deceiver Exort or your Pestermite, so you kind of want to get that, on the board because you want to combo off. Because if you play your combo and they don't interact with it, they are dead. Like, you just win. It's one of those combos that just hits it, it just goes off. There's ways to disrupt it, and we'll talk about that a little bit later. But I think Cavern of Souls is honestly a really good addition. I haven't seen everyone's list, but to be honest, if I built the deck, I would easily run a Cavern of Souls, potentially even 2, because I think this is just a really important land. Another land that is popular in the decks is Desolate Lighthouse. I really like Desolate Lighthouse. I think it's a really, really good card. It basically is just a looter for you. Something you want to be doing in this deck a lot is you want to be digging for your combo, so you want to be drawing lots of cards, and Desolate Lighthouse is a multi-purpose card because it, 1, acts as a land if you need it, and 2, it acts as a looter. It's super amazing. And then you're going to have your really basic fetch lands, shock lands, basic lands. Pretty straightforward for the most part, nothing super fancy. So the first, we're going to be talking about the basic blue-red twin. So I've seen variations in numbers depending on how many Deceiver Exarts and how many Pestermites you run. The list that I'm looking at right now does 4 Deceiver Exarts and 2 Pestermites. I've seen the numbers vary. Some do 4, some do 3, some do 3, 2. It totally depends on your build. If I built this deck, I think I would do probably 4, 3, I think is a really good number. I think 6 or 7 I think you'll be totally fine with. I've seen some people do 5. Those decks don't rely as heavily on the combo, but if you're going to be doing full-fledged twin, you're going to be wanting like 6, 7 of this card. I think 7's a really good number. Then the deck runs Snapcaster Mage. I don't know if I necessarily need to explain why Snapcaster Mage is so good. It's a really great magic card, let's just say that. It's amazing. You Snapcaster Mage, Serum Visions, you Snapcaster Mage Remand. It's amazing, and you also get a creature out of it. Like, that is the reason that Snapcaster Mage is just so amazing, because if you're playing this deck and you're digging through your answers and you can't find a Splinter Twin, you're just like, I need to stall, I need a creature on board. It acts as a really good body after you use its abilities, or a really good beater. Like, it's just a 2/1, it's just really good. Snapcaster Mage is just absolutely fantastic. So, Another card that I've also seen in this deck are variations of the numbers on these 2 or 1. I've seen some that do 3. Vendilion Click. This card's amazing. I really also am a huge fan of the Modern Masters art because people call it the Powerpuff Girls, and I think that's awesome. And I really like the Powerpuff Girls. It's a great show, man. Let me tell you. So, Vendilion Click is super great. It gives you... This card is amazing because it does 2 things that you want to, very similar to Snapcaster Mage, in a sense that you get that aggressive sort of... You get this aggressive creature that's a 3/1, it's got flash, it's got flying, which is amazing. Then, on top of that, you get to look at their hand, you get access to information, and you get to take away something and put it on the bottom of their deck. It's all around just an absolutely fantastic Magic card. It does so many different things that you want to do in this deck. And again, something that I feel like is a problem with a lot of control decks is that they just don't have a lot of creatures. So if you're playing against a deck and they just have so many creatures that you can't deal with because you don't have enough counters, you don't have enough removal, whatever it is, the fact that like you can get creatures with this, I think is just absolutely fantastic. So yeah, that's super great. Then we get to a card that I have very mixed feelings about, and I honestly, like, this is a card that I genuinely don't know how I feel about, and that is Cryptic Command. I've heard both sides of the argument. Some people love Cryptic Command, some people hate Cryptic Command. I'm in the middle. I can see both sides of the argument on why they like Cryptic and why they don't. Reasons why it's super good. Well, it does 4 different things. 4 different things. Options in Magic are amazing. It's really, really good. One of the reasons why the command cards, the new command cards, Kolaghan's Command, Dromoka's Command, all those cards are amazing. Why? Because they give you options on doing different things that you want to do. Cryptic Command gives you 4 different options. It counters anything, which is super amazing. It draws you cards. Great. It taps down their team. Amazing. Ooh, and what is the last ability? I'm totally slipping on what the last ability is. Oh, and you get to bounce a creature. All those things are super, super amazing. Yeah. Here's the downside to this card. It's 4 mana. Given a lot of that stuff on its own, you know, it's gonna cost you 1-2 mana anyway, so the fact that you get to do 2 of it is pretty good. The fact that it's triple blue, I think, is really not the best thing. I feel like that can potentially end up hurting because you're like, you've got a Cryptic Command in your hand, and you know, and I feel like Twin stalls out enough where you can usually get this off and you can usually get your triple blue. To be completely honest though, I'm on the fence. I've seen both arguments. I really can't officially decide on what I think about this card. I'd really like to hear your feedback on what you guys think of Cryptic Command. If you've played with it before, what are your thoughts? Like I said, I have mixed feelings on it. I think $30 is really expensive for this card. I think that's kind of ridiculous. If I built this deck, I honestly don't think I'd run it. I really don't. I couldn't see myself running it. Alright, cool. And then we get into, Dispel. Dispel's really good. I don't know how many I would necessarily run. I like kind of this card as like a 1 of, maybe a 2 of. The reason that Dispel is also really amazing is that you know, you're gonna get from a lot of decks interactions with your deck. So they're gonna play Path to Exile on your thing. For 1 mana, you can just get rid of that, which is super amazing. So I think that Dispel is really strong in that regard. However, it is only instant spell. It's targeting one specific type of thing. Given you're in Modern, people are going to be playing instants. It's a thing that you're going to see. Given, I think Dispel is really good. Is it my favorite counterspell ever? Not really, but I do like it. This card's amazing. I did not realize quite how good this card was until it was played against me, and that is Electrolyze. Electrolyze is fantastic because the fact that you can divide up the damage makes this card absolutely phenomenal. Because you play this card for 3 mana, you get to draw a card out of it, which is super great. It's an instant, which is amazing. And the fact that you get to divide the damage up, you can kill their Snapcaster Mage with 1 damage and then give the damage to them. You can just do so many different things with this card, or you can deal 2 damage to their, you know, 1/2 Goyf or whatever. Like, you can just kill so many things with this card. It's amazing. Lightning Bolt. Lightning Bolt's a really good Magic card. That's all. Alright, then we get into Remand. Remand is a very good card. And the thing about Remand, and I kind of heard mixed things about Remand. A lot of people don't like it, a lot of people do, whatever. And I was actually talking to one of my friends about this card, and he said that the reason that this card is actually so good is because you get to draw a card off of it, as well as counter something. The thing with Remand, that you read it, and when I first read this card I was like, wait, it goes back to their hand? That's not that good. But that's so important because it slows them down for a turn. Because they have to choose now of recasting, you know, that spell that you countered, or playing something else. And the fact that you have access to that information, you know a card that's in their hand, which is amazing. So Remand is super sweet, and the fact that, again, you get to draw a card out of it is just super amazing. And it's also counter-target spell. I think it's really important to notice in a lot of these decks, does this card specifically say non-creature spell or creature spell? What is the counter spell doing? And I think that's a really important thing for Remand. And the fact that it's 2 mana too, it's something that you want to be casting on turn 2, basically. And Snapcaster Mage Remand, super great. It's great. You literally get the best of both worlds. Snapcaster Mage Remand's like one of the best things ever. This card is so interesting, and I've seen this on a couple of people's lists, and I don't know how I feel about it, but I feel like I like it. And that is Roast. Roast is amazing. It's getting a lot of attention from people in Standard right now. It's just one of the best cards in Standard, best removal cards, because it just deals with so many different things. This is such a really good late game card. It's going to hit a lot of different stuff, and it's 5 damage. It's going to kill a Tassiger. It's going to kill a Siege Rhino. It's absolutely amazing. It's going to get rid of that card that you didn't get the chance to counter, or you can't Lightning Bolt. It's great. Then we get into Serum Visions. Alright, cool. Here's the deal. The problem with Modern in Serum Visions is the fact that there's so many good cards that you can't play in Modern, like Brainstorm, or Preordain, or Ponder. We're stuck with Serum Visions. It's really not that good. It's honestly not. The fact that you draw before you scry, it's not that amazing. However, it's the best thing that we do have. And the fact that it's 1 mana, you pretty much want to be casting Serum Visions on turn 1 with this deck. That's really what you want to be doing, so that you can, you know, you can find your answers faster. Cool. Then we have Spell Snare. I haven't officially decided if I like Spell Snare or Spell Pierce. I like both of them. I've seen both in these decks, and they're both really amazing. I feel like I like Spell Pierce a little bit more because it's similar to Mana Leak, but it's 1 less mana, and then it's 2, so if they tap out for something, you're like Spell Pierce, and it's just really good. But I also do like Spell Snare because, given you're going to be countering stuff, and there's going to be stuff that's 2 mana that you're going to want to get rid of. There's so many good things that are 2 mana in this format you just don't want to deal with. And, I mean, I've already talked about the enchantment, but Splinter Twin, I mean, deck's going to be 4 running it. It's just really good. Then we talk about sideboard shenanigans, and sideboard is a really tough thing, I think, to talk about in videos, because I think that sideboard is very, very dependent on your meta and your local game store. So I think that it's very tough to talk about, but a couple of very, like, popular things that I've seen, and again, I'm just looking at this list, is Ancient Grudge. I'm not a huge fan of this deck. I don't love it, but I understand why people like it. It's because it's 3 mana to get rid of 2 artifacts. You know, like, you can play it and then you can flash it back, and, you know, it's good. So I understand why people... Wait, this deck doesn't run green. This is not Tarmo Twin. Why is this deck running Ancient Grudge? I don't... Okay, I don't know. I feel like there's a better card than Ancient Grudge that is running red, and I can't think of it right now, but anyways. Then we get into Blood Moon. This card is amazing. It shuts down so many different people. Like, you will be bringing this card in for so many matchups. It shuts down Tron. You're like, hey man, you know all those manlands you got? Guess what, bro? They're mountains. Shuts down Bloom Titan. Bloom Titan hates this card. I know because I played against it, and it's miserable. It's not fun. Blood Moon is absolutely fantastic. A lot of people are really greedy with their mana bases. They're going to be running fetches. They're going to be running shocks. They're going to be running manlands. You make them mountains. And you know what? You really don't care. You really don't care about Blood Moon. So what? You can't cast your Snapcaster Mage. Guess what, bro? You don't care because you shut down their deck. Real talk. Then we get into Grim Lavamancer. I like Grim Lavamancer. I don't know how I necessarily feel. Oh, okay, I can guess. I understand why this card is in this deck. Yeah, this card's good in this deck. I like it. It gets rid. It's like a mini bolt on a stick, kind of, sorta. And it's a creature, which is super great. And yeah, Grim Lavamancer is really cool. I like it. This is a card that's really interesting, and I've actually seen a couple of deck lists toying around with different things in this, whether they run the new Jace or Jace Architect of Thought. Oh my goodness, this card is amazing. Jace is super sweet because his +1 shuts down a lot of decks that that run like small creatures, or if not, it gives, you know, it kind of saves you first from some life. Shuts down my tokens deck pretty much when I play it because I'm like, I've got like 0/1 tokens. It shuts down the mirror match basically because you play against the mirror match and they've got like 0. Wait, does it shut off the mirror match? Oh, it shuts off the mirror if they play Deceiver Exarch because they have 0/4. I'm sorry, they have 0/3 Deceiver Exarch, but it doesn't shut off Pestermite. Yes. Okay, then his -2 is a mini Fact or Fiction, basically. Super good, something that you definitely want to be doing. I like the versatility of Jace as well. Like I said, having options in Magic is super great, so that's really awesome. And then, given, are you probably going to be getting his ult off? I mean, probably not. Who knows, you may though. I think that his +1 and then his -2, I think his -2 is just too good to pass up. Again, you want to be drawing lots of cards in this deck, but if you get his ult off, I mean, it's still really good. And we've got Keranos. I like Keranos a lot. I think it's super sweet. You don't really care about Keranos becoming a creature. It's not really a priority of yours. It's kind of just a way to, you know, get card draw, and it's a lightning bolt on a stick. It's amazing. Cool. Then we have Negate. Yeah, it's a counter. It's good. I like it. Pyroclasm. Pyroclasm is really amazing. It's definitely a huge modern staple. The fact that Pyroclasm's like $1.30? What? Why is that card so expensive? I mean, it's really good, but wow, that just dropped up in price. I didn't know that. Okay, anyways, Pyroclasm is super great. It gets rid of tokens. It gets rid of lots of stuff. It's really good. You should run it. Okay. This card is absolutely fantastic, and that is Rending Volley. This is an amazing sideboard card because, first off, it can't be countered. Amazing. Amazing in the mirror match. Absolutely amazing in the mirror match. If you're playing like red in Modern and you're not playing Splinter Twin, please run this card on the sideboard. It shuts down Twin. It literally shuts down Twin. They can't do anything. You're like, I'm gonna kill your Pestermite, I'm gonna kill your Deceiver Exarch. Can't be countered, and you just kill their thing. It's just... Wait, white or blue? Did I just totally misread this card? Am I thinking of a different magic card? Hold on. What's the magic card? Is it Combust I'm thinking of? I totally misread this magic card, and we're just gonna pretend like I didn't misread that magic card. What card am I thinking of? Oh no, it is blue! I read blue is not blue. Okay, guys. Literally, what was that? Okay. Okay, I don't know how I read that card, but that was not right. Okay, let's start that over. Okay, Rending Volley is amazing. Can't be countered. Fantastic. 1 mana. Amazing. 4 damage to white or blue creature. Shuts off, just gets rid of Deceiver Exarch, gets rid of Pestermite. Absolutely fantastic. Cool. Then we have Roast. Again, super amazing. This is really interesting. This one runs Teferi. I think that's really interesting. I don't know how I feel about that. Ooh, this one also runs Thundermaw Hellkite. That's really cool. I wonder if this is in there for tokens. Wow, that's really interesting. Okay, cool. Another card that I've also seen in this deck, and maybe it's in the other decks and I'm not sure off the top of my head, but is it Staticaster, I think it is? This card's amazing. It really shuts off tokens. It shuts off Twin, Mirror. This card's a really just amazing, or any, you know, it just gets rid of, you know, variations of the same card, which is amazing. So that's the basic outline of what a typical blue-red deck does. Now, let's talk about Jeskai a little bit. Now, numbers are going to vary and stuff like that. But in terms of Jeskai, Jeskai does a couple of different things. It runs Path to Exile, and the reason that Path is just amazing. It's great. It's such a good removal card. It's one of the best removal cards, like, basically in the format. And basically, it's good. I don't love Jeskai Twin. I don't hate it. I don't know if it's necessarily the best. I don't know how I feel about it, but I think it's good. I think Path is really good. It gets by a lot of those cards that you can't really deal with. So I think that is really important. With the cards that can't get by your counters, it can't get lightning bolted, anything like that. So I do think that is really cool. Cool. So that's that. And basically, again, a lot of the variations are the same. This one's running Is It Charm, which is pretty cool. Again, for the card draw, you draw 2, you discard 2, or again, for, you know, counter or the fact that it deals 2 damage to target creature is really good. Lightning Helix is pretty solid. I like it a lot. Especially, it's nice for gaining some life when, you know, you're going to be doing damage to yourself by things like Shocklands and Fetchlands, so that's good for, you know, that bit of life. And that is pretty much it. A couple of things in the sideboard that I'm looking at. I do really enjoy the Rest in Peace in the sideboard. Rest in Peace is an all-star card. It shuts down so many different people, so I do have to say that I think this deck has a really good advantage because a lot of decks in Modern right now really love their graveyard and love interacting with their graveyard. So Rest in Peace really shuts off those decks, and it's amazing. So I think the addition of that is really strong. Yeah. This one runs Anger of the Gods. Anger of the Gods and Pyroclasm are very similar. Anger is 1 more mana and it does 3 damage. And if they get, if damage is, you know, if they die, they get exiled, which is super amazing. You don't really care about Anger of the Gods and Pyroclasm. It doesn't really hit your stuff. You may kill your own Snapcaster Mage, but it doesn't, it's not going to kill really your, it can kill your Pester Mage, but it's not going to kill your Deceiver Exart, so you don't really care. And again, it exiles stuff, which is super amazing. Cool. So that's pretty much the Jeskai deck, so that's pretty awesome. And cool. Then we talk about, then we're going to talk about Tarmo Twin. Now, Tarmo Twin is a deck that I have mixed feelings about, like I said, because I think that Tasigur is just better, and I'll talk about that, in a bit. But basically, the major difference that you're going to be running in this deck is you're going to be running Bounding Krasis. And it was really funny when this card came out. I remember when people were like, oh my gosh, Twin's gonna love this card. And Tarmo Twin's not that popular. It's really not. When people talk about Twin, they really talk about Grixis and the regular blue-white. But the more I looked at this card, the more I was kind of like, maybe this card's not super bad. And the reason why people say that Deceiver Exart and Pester might have issues is because Deceiver Exart is a 1/4. So again, it can get shut off by Jace. It can get shut off by one of my favorite Modern cards, which is oh my goodness, what is it? It's black and white. It's Zealous Persecution. And Zealous Persecution is used in Abzan. It's used in black-white tokens. It's amazing. And Abzan's really, really popular. So it gets shut off for a turn by that, and then Abzan can just, you know, potentially go right out and kill you, or get the chance to draw a path, get rid of their creature, whatever. So that's the reason that Deceiver Exart can be a little bit, you know, not amazing. It can be shut off by a lot of different things. The reason why Pestermite is very fragile is because it's got 1 toughness. It dies to a lot of things. A lot. Because you can bolt it. You can do so many things. The reason that this card is so good is that it's a 3/3. Which is really, really strong, because you play this, and then it gets by a bunch of that removal that your opponent was going to do. So I think this card is really good. However, I don't know how I feel about the addition of Tarmogoyf. I don't know. I think it's good, and I think that it's a good beatdown creature, but again, I think that just goes back to me just not being in love with Tarmogoyf, and everyone loves it, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, I don't know. But in terms of other cards, you know, again, it's going to be very standard. It's going to be running remands, electrolyzes, all that stuff is pretty much the same. What is... Oh, Vandal Blast. That card's really good. Yeah. Again, I'm looking at the sideboard, so they look very, very similar. And then... Okay, then we get into my favorite version of Twin, and that is either referred to as Grixis Twin or Evil Twin, I've seen. And basically the whole theme of this deck is, it does revolve around the combo, but it runs 2 really awesome cards, and that is Tasigur, and it also runs the new Jace. And I really love the addition of Jace in this deck because it's a looter for you, and you don't really want Jace to flip because you don't really care about that. You kind of just want to draw cards and, you know, discard cards, but the fact that you can just exile stuff from your graveyard is really fantastic. So you can just delve stuff away, and you're just like, you know, it runs Murderous Cut as well, so you delve that, or you delve stuff away with Tasigur, and you can just get stuff. I don't actually remember what I was just saying, so we're just gonna kind of go with it. But yeah, I like Jace. I think he's really sweet. I think I was talking about Jace flipping. Yeah, he's not that good flipped. You kind of want to keep him, you know, as a creature as much as if you possibly can. So I think that Jace is really good. He's dominating like so many decks in everything. He's one of the most popular Magic cards like right now. Dominating Modern, dominating Standard. He's super good. And the addition of Tasigur, I mean, again, I did an entire card focus talking entirely about Tasigur and why I think he's so amazing, but the brief gist of it is the reason that Tasigur is so good, and the reason why I think I like Grixis Twin the best is because a lot of times what will happen in Twin is you will just play the deck and you won't draw your combo. You will play and you will be stuck with like a Deceiver Exarch that you just play because you need a blocker and you need to be pinging, or you need to be pinging it with points of damage, and you just swing. I've been killed with Deceiver Exarch before, it's totally happened, but it's grindy, and given you kind of don't really mind necessarily the long grindy game, but like, because you're running a control deck, and a lot of times what control decks just do, but I personally think that having a big body in the deck is really good and important. Given, I do think that Vendilion Clique is good, however, I think that Jace is perfectly fine because it's a creature. It's really good. If they have to waste a whatever getting rid of it, you're kind of like, cool, you get rid of my looter, but you know, wasted something on that when I can still get my Deceiver Exarch or my Pestermite. So I think that's really good. And Tasigur again gets stuff back for you. He's just amazing. He's so good. And another addition of this deck is the addition of Culligan's Command. Culligan's Command is absolutely 100% dominating Modern right now. It's dominating and it's amazing. It is fantastic because it's, again, you get so many options for 3 mana. You get to return target creature. So say you have like a Splinter Twin in your hand and they killed your Deceiver Exarch, you play Culligan's Command. You get target player discards a card. Okay, great, sounds good. You get to destroy target artifact. People are going to be running artifacts. You can destroy them. Or you get to destroy you get to deal 2 damage to something on the field. All of those things are amazing. Super great. It's a great Magic card. And speaking of other, you know, good cards for black, it's also running Terminate, and Terminate is really fantastic. It gets rid of a lot of different stuff, and it can't be regenerated, so it does, you know, hit some creatures that do regenerate in this format, so I think that's really, really sweet. And it's just absolutely amazing. I really like it. I think that this deck, too, relies less on the combo, because you can kill people with Tasigur. And Tasigur, like, once he's out, they need to deal with Tasigur. A lot of decks really need to deal with Tasigur, because it's a big 4/5, and it's just really, really amazing. So, something and again, I like Murderous Cut a lot. I think the addition of Murderous Cut's great. Again, it helps stop your Jace from flipping, and it gets rid of a creature. I think it's sweet. And in terms of a couple things on the sideboard, I've actually seen, this deck that I'm looking at right now is running Ashiok. I personally love Ashiok in Modern. I think that Ashiok is amazing, because the fact that Ashiok gets to exile some cards from their deck, so say they, like, play Serum Visions, and they're like, I'm gonna put both cards on top, and you're like, Ashiok, those cards get exiled, they're in for a bad time. Also, you get creatures with this, and again, if you're playing this game, and, like, you just don't have creatures because you're not drawing them, or they've killed your creatures, whatever, you get the opportunity to get their creatures, which is amazing. And they don't get them, which is super great. Ashiok, I think, is just a great addition to Modern, very underplayed, very underrated in my opinion, and I think it's something, I honestly think that it's a creature that just needs, a planeswalker that just needs more attention. Because I feel like with planeswalkers in Modern, like, Jace is getting a lot of attention right now, Sorin Solemn Visitor is getting a lot of attention, and Ashiok is just not one of those cards, and I honestly think that he should be, or she. We don't know. But, yeah. Cool, guys, that was it. That was it for Splinter Twin. Like I said, I think the deck is really sweet. I think that it's reliable deck. If you like combo, if you like control, definitely a deck that you may want to proxy up and potentially test out. It's good, and like I said, I think that the decks that can rely less on the combo, I think are better off, which is a reason why I think Grixis has gotten so much attention, is because it relies on the combo, but you don't need it to. And let's be real here, pinging someone for, 1 damage a turn with the Searex art is a little bit annoying. So, not potentially it's not necessarily something that you want to be doing as you're trying to dig for your combo. It definitely can, people can interrupt the combo. There's definitely ways to deal with that, but other than that, I think this is a really strong deck in the format and definitely one of the top decks. And if you're looking for something really powerful and you're looking for, a reliable sort of deck, play around with this deck and, yeah. Alright, cool. That was it. That was it for, this deck. I'll list all of the decks that I referenced in particular, but you can do so much research on this deck and find so many different things. But I'll link specifically the ones that I was checking out in this video. Like I said, I kind of pulled up random ones. I wasn't really looking at any one's deck in particular. I just kind of was like, let's go with these decks. So, yeah, I think that's it for me. I really probably shouldn't have filmed this video and I should have been doing schoolwork, but I got like really distracted and I was like, it's been like a day and I was like, I'm gonna film for you guys, so. Alright, cool. Hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day/night, and I'll talk to you in the next video. Bye.